My name is Greg Brimble, and I work on Cloudflare pages. And to get started, I'm going to talk about the evolution of web architectures, how we got to where we are today. So the canonical example is sort of a classic server-side rendering app where you've maybe rented a server in Virginia, and it's got your database and your rendering logic all in one place, and you have visitors from all over the world, for example, this browser in France. So in order to actually visit the website, the browser is having to make a request to your server, and that's maybe taking 50 milliseconds. And then the server's got to return a response, which may be taking another 50 milliseconds. This is just the speed of light. This is the bare minimum that you get. There's no other overhead. So already you're taking 100 milliseconds, which is a noticeable delay before you can even start to render the page. You haven't delivered any bytes yet to the browser. So Jamstack came along and then decided to try and fix this problem, this slow time to first byte. And instead of having everything co-located in one place, what they did was they broke out the static assets and served them on a content delivery network, a CDN, like Cloudflare. And that means that the browser can make a first request just to one of these CDN locations and immediately start rendering the page with the HTML, JavaScript, or images, or whatever it is that they have. And then for anything meaningful where they need some data, you can make a request back to your database. But this is sort of what gave rise to the spinners and the skeletons that we see all over the web today. So the next sort of stepping stone after Jamstack was these sort of edge data platforms that came about, like Fauna. And they operate their own networks, like CDNs, and then they deliver your data from multiple locations around the world. So the idea here is that your browser can now just make a couple of requests, one to get your static assets and one to actually fetch your data. But the idea is that they're close and nearby to where your browser actually is, so you don't need to hop all the way across the ocean to render your app. So today, what's now possible is something like Edge Data SSR, where because these CDNs are becoming more powerful, where you're able to actually store data on these CDNs and also run actual compute. Remix is able to take advantage of this, and you're able to, in a single request, render your entire app through just connecting to the nearest CDN location. And this is obviously pretty much the most optimal configuration you can have for serving content to users. But because you've now got your data distributed all around the world like this, you sort of come up to some new problem, which is a classic computer science from the CAP theorem, which basically says that you're allowed to choose two of these three properties of your data. Partition tolerance you pretty much always need. That just says that it's tolerant to network faults, like dropped packets or whatever. So you're left with either consistency or availability. Consistency means that your data is kept synchronized, it's always up to date, and availability means that it's distributed around the world and is therefore really fast for anyone who wants to read it. So let's say you're building like a ticket booking application like Ticketmaster, and you have multiple different types of data in your app that you want to serve. For example, the categories of events, like different music genres or whatever. These are maybe appearing in your nav bar, so they're being read by pretty much everyone who visits your website, and they're very infrequently updated. So you probably want to store them with high availability so that they're really fast for anyone who's reading it. Something like the events of your actual app is maybe starting to blur the lines a little bit, where they're getting updated more frequently than categories. But in the scheme of, in the grand schemes of like this data talk, it's actually still quite infrequent. You're maybe only updating them once a day or whatever. And if you have a little bit of inconsistency, where someone's maybe 60 seconds or something out of date, it's not the end of the world. So you'd probably still want to go with availability or high availability for that. But let's say you've got, like, you're taking bookings for your events and you have a limited number of seats in the venue, then you absolutely need to guarantee that you're not double booking that seat. So in that case, you want high consistency rather than the availability. You're going to sacrifice a bit of performance there, but it's what you need to do. So with all of that in mind, I'm really excited to announce that we are going to be launching soon Cloudflare's Disco Stack for Remix, which is going to be, thank you. And that's going to let you take advantage of all of these different types of data for your application. It's not ready quite yet. We still have a couple of things to get ready, namely resource provisioning. And what this is going to do is going to let us detect what types of resources you need for your project and then walk you through the provisioning of it for your deployment. So no more reading like 100 steps in a README or copying and pasting API tokens or whatever. It's going to be a really guided workflow. So yeah, really excited to sort of get this in the hands of you guys. I'm going to leave you with this tweet from Michael. I hope he doesn't mind me paraphrasing too much. But the idea is basically when you're designing your data model, you really need to think about how you can push your data as close to your users as possible, whilst having just as minimal consistency as you need in order to improve the performance and ultimately the user experience of your app. Thank you very much.